right, folks, welcome to 𝗬𝗏𝗠𝗃𝗏. I got a great guest today. Colonel Towner Watkins is joining me, and it's going to be fire. We're going to talk a lot of things that are in the headlines today. One of them being Candace Owens. I mean, she's coming out with some outlandish, crazy talk, right? Well, folks, I'm just going to say this. I had Ian Wendt on last night, and the show's going to be up today on 𝗬𝗏𝗠𝗃𝗏. It's absolute fire, and it's called the Charlie Kirk Black Pill. And we went back through Charlie Kirk's life on when he got blackpilled about that little country in the Middle East and how it kind of he started short-circuiting. And we all know when that was. It was during one of his speeches when a guy questioned him and said, "What about 9/11, Charlie? You know who's behind that?" And then we just kind of followed it from there in chronological order. And we talk about Candace Owens, TPUSH, Erica Kirk, the whole thing. Folks, this is getting really messy and it's getting really ugly fast, real fast. So I suggest everyone go to 𝗬𝗏𝗠𝗃𝗏 and watch that. I'll have it up right after this podcast. Colonel Towner Watkins is going to shed some light on Operation Gladio, on the Trump operation, on what Candace Owens has said, the Venezuela war. When are we going to take out Maduro? What's going on there? We're going to have some land strikes happening very soon. It's getting crazy. Folks, hit the notification button. Venmo is D-Rod1977, D-Rod1977. If you appreciate me, I absolutely appreciate you. And folks, I mean it when I say it. You all are keeping me strong during this time. You know, I'm hardly getting any sleep. I'm on fumes. My parents are sick. And it's been tough. It's been a really tough time for me. It's been very trying and probably one of the hardest times of my life. Add that with just life itself, and life is tough already. So you all keep me going. And by you showing up every day for my morning shows or Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, it means a lot to me. I really lovingly call you the Black Sheep family. And I thank all of you, including Alex, for showing up every day, you know, on whether it's a late broadcast at night or the morning show. Thank you so much. Means a lot to me, folks. When the lights go out on Amazon, please leave an honest review. Also, my mama's book, The Mexican Mix, please leave an honest review. And folks, get your red light. What if you could fire up your heart and supercharge circulation in just 15 minutes without drugs or surgery? The red light, folks, has so many benefits. It's off the charts. It's unbelievable. These panels, I've made a sandwich. I call it the sandwich, the med bed hack, where I put the PEMF mat on the bottom, the red light on the top, and I do it every day, and I feel amazing, folks. And I really feel it's helping me keep my nose above water right now. So it charges your heart's mitochondria, helping it beat stronger, last longer, and fight inflammation. In one study, mice with heart failure bounced back fast. The heart shrank to a healthy size and function soared. No pills, no side effects, just pure light power. Light frequency, folks. This is cutting-edge stuff. Red Life delivers the exact therapeutic wavelengths used in those studies, so you can energize your heart naturally. More stamina, better blood flow, a heart built to last right at home. This is a breakthrough claim. You better get this and see for yourself. It's unbelievable. MyRedLight.com. Use code Nino. MyRedLight.com, folks. Get started on it. And guess what, folks? Yes, I'm going to start the ghetto timer. I'll put it at about 35. So, 𝗬𝗏𝗠𝗃𝗏, Ringside with Nino, October 29th coming up. October 29th, 5 p.m. We all war game together, the Black Sheep family. We all, whatever. Give me your 2 cents, folks. Let me know how you're feeling. We all talk about it. Ask the questions you want to know. That's on Ringside with Nino, and then General's Tent is October 30th, the next day. So you're gonna see me twice. General's Tent is 5 p.m. Both are 5 p.m. October 30th. Sheila Home and Wano Saban will be on there discussing the events of today. So, folks, you know, before I get into more of this, let's really think about this with Candace Owens. And I think we all know there's a lot more to the picture here than what they're telling us. A gag order on over 3,000 people. Are you kidding me? A gag order? And then, the big giveaway for me was not just Tyler Robinson, that sorry-ass story, but for me, it was the repaving and the construction of the amphitheater right after the incident. Nah, there's no guilt there. People taking down the cameras. There's a lot to this story, folks. And I think Candace Owens is uncovering a lot of things. She's doubling, tripling, quadrupling down. But is she going overboard? I think she might be. I think she might have gone a little too full. I don't know. But how do you say you're guilty without saying you're guilty? How do you say there's more to the story without saying there's more to the story? Gag orders on 3,000 people plus. That's how you do it. Nothing to see here. So 𝗀𝗋 came on my show yesterday, and it's about an hour and 20 minutes. It felt like 2 hours. I'm not used to these really long podcasts, unless they're in person. Those are easier. But 𝗀𝗋 came on my show and really broke it down. He's going to go on some big shows like Alex Jones and things like that. He broke it down on my show. It's on Nino'sCorner.tv, and it's dark. It's the black pill. And obviously, there's a lot pointing at that little country in the Middle East. I don't know. I leave it to you. I lay it out for you all to play it out. So I think it's worth looking at. Folks, and you might want to turn it down or turn it up, baby. I'm about to get started here. Yeah, I know. A lot of you turn it down, but a lot of you turn it up too. So I don't know. It's good. It's fun. Coming at you live from the apocalypse, folks. Yeah, here we go. So I'm going to be bringing on Tanner Watkins. But first, Candace Owens accuses Trump of the unthinkable. Is she crazy? What's going on? Is there some substance there? I don't know. As we approach the big finale and as the months get hotter and hotter, because we know they are, folks, it's getting a lot hotter out there. It's going to get more and more confusing. There's this one verse in the Bible that keeps playing over and over and over in my head, and it's Luke 21:26. Men's hearts failing them for fear and the expectation of those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of the heavens will be shaken. The verse describes a time of great upheaval and distress where people will be overwhelmed by fear due to frightening events happening on earth and in the heavens. It is often interpreted as prophecy of the end times and the second coming of Jesus Christ. There's a lot here, folks. There's a lot going on. It seems to me like prophecy is being fulfilled. Now, I've raised a lot of questions about Jared Kushner. You've heard Daniel Brinkley come on my show and say, hey, man, who's getting the contracts to rebuild Gaza? What's really going on here? Follow the money. Follow the money. In fact, they were even called out on 60 Minutes, Jared Kushner. It's looking more and more obvious to me, folks. That's all I'm going to say. It's just looking more and more obvious. And is he going to be the one, question here, could he be the one that's going to build the third temple in Gaza? I mean, you can't make this shit up. I believe a quickening is here. I really do. I believe a quickening is here, and things are quadrupling in speed. Things are going to be turned upside down and shaken drastically. The people who we once trusted are going to pivot into directions we never anticipated or ever could expect. The question that I ask is, are they truly losing their minds, or are they speaking the truth? Like who? Candace Owens. Are they science? We know there's a few of them. We know they're out there for sure. Be very careful who you listen to. I'm going to tell you that many of them are paid agitators. I'm going to go that far to say that. I believe a lot of them are paid agitators and bots. I mean, we know there's a lot of bots on X. We have all heard that little country in the Middle East is actively paying influencers for posts and to promote their propaganda. Folks, I personally could see some of them coming a mile away. I believe a lot of these were like Kanye, Nick Fuentes, Laura Loomer's raising a lot of questions for me now, and so many others. And I believe they're all being activated for such a time as now. But then you have Candace Owens. She's bringing a whole damn house. She's bringing the whole damn house of cards down, folks. I'm telling you that right now. She's going all in, and she has a massive, massive following. A massive following. So before we dismiss her as crazy, we need to take a look at exactly what she has to say. Follow the money. Now, I'm not going as far as to say Trump was implicated, Trump's involved. I'm not going there. I still believe in an operation, and I think you gotta, just like in boxing, you gotta play with some bad players, folks. It's just the way it is. I have a lot of pictures with me and Don King, Bob Arum, everybody. A lot of people that aren't very liked in the business, and that doesn't mean that I was hanging out with them. Like, I don't know, let's take example Trump and Epstein. Doesn't mean they were really best friends, folks. I'm just raising the question. I was with Don King and many others many times during my fights. I'm going to bring Towner Watkins on right now. Towner, how are you, Colonel? Man, there's a lot going on.
I'm great. How are you?
I'm great, and people love you, man. And I thank you for coming on. Let's try to make sense of some of this madness. First off, let me get your thoughts on Candace Owens. What's your thoughts on her right now coming out? And she's basically alluding to Trump kind of being implicated here. And we all know there's a lot more to this story, right? There's a lot more to this story. We know that, we can't believe everything TPUSA is putting out there. A lot of people don't believe the narrative that Tyler Robinson is the lone shooter. What's your thoughts on this whole thing here and Candace Owens?
So because of the inconsistencies of the evidence versus what we're being told, everyone, based on the last 70 years worth of fake stories our government has told us, has every right to demand the truth, to demand things that make sense. Not that killing someone makes sense, but the operation around it. You don't have a lone shooter. There's never in the history of our country been lone shooters. It's always a lie. There's support mechanisms that allow this to happen. And to come out immediately and tell us it's a lone shooter immediately begs the question of stop it, just stop it. So for those reasons, but I think you have to kind of put things in distinct order. Is what we're being told the likely truth? No. Are there people out there that are bad actors that are going to use? So I want to kind of just jump back a second. There's two types of terrorism. There is specific terrorism that is pulled off as the objective of blowing a building up. But then there is also an indirect terrorism that the CIA specializes in that sets all of the conditions of somebody doing something that is an attack or something like that. Both of them are caused by the CIA. The random, as it's often called, terrorism that's based on a foundation that they create can lead to a group of people doing what they did to Charlie Kirk. But it could also be an actual operation where he is the objective. Without having any of the communications from these people, you have to be able to use history as your guide to make some decisions yourself, because you're not going to get the truth. We've never gotten the truth, which is kind of throws our whole democracy or republic into a tizzy, because our entire country's based on the foundation of an informed voter. We have not been an informed voter since the CIA was created in 1948 or 47, operational since 48, because they've hidden very important information from us of things that they have done both inside the United States and outside the United States, and flagrantly lied to us repeatedly. So on that part, you have to make your own informed decision based on the information you're being provided. As far as Trump being implicated in that, it goes against logic. Here you have a president that for the entire 4 years he was president before, he was attacked nonstop by the deep state players. He has been attacked and indicted repeatedly during his off season. And here he is again for the first time, and I know we're going to talk about Venezuela, but for the very first time ever since 1948, when the CIA first got involved. I mean, it was the OSS before them, so they've been involved even longer than the CIA's been in existence, in drug trafficking to Americans, primarily historically Black and Hispanic neighborhoods, on purpose. It's in their documents.
Right.
They say that that's what they do. And the creation of MS-13 down in El Salvador, that was 100% the CIA. So they create the cartels, they create the terrorists, and they unleash them on America.
And then they use the MSN as the other branch of this to put, create this coordinated psyop on the American people, correct?
Yes.
I mean, it's all coordinated.
It is all
coordinated effort.
And you have the one president in our entire history that it has taken them on head on. So of course there's going to be psychological operations by the people behind the drug networks and what I call the international syndicate, the crime syndicate, that is going to do everything that they can to confuse Americans and the world.
So let me ask you this.
Trump.
So do you think Candace Owens is a paid agitator? Do you think she's a psyop herself, or do you think she's just emotionally invested and charged into this?
I don't know, because now you're speaking to motivation. I obviously don't have access to her financial records. That would require me to pay attention to Candace Owens, and I don't.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, what would be the motivation here? I mean, she sure is. I had Phil Lyman on, and Phil Lyman, she was attacking Phil Lyman and really going into Phil Lyman. Phil Lyman ran for governor against the guy who won. Who's the governor of Utah? Someone put it in the comments, but she was really going after him, and I had him on my show. And he's like, dude, my whole family now is in danger because I'm getting death threats because of what she's saying. And she goes, she cannot prove any of this stuff, but she's putting my family in danger. And, I look at Candace Owens and I think, I think she means well, but I think she's just so emotionally invested in Charlie that maybe that's why this is happening. But then again, the allegations she's making are so careless to me.
Correct.
That I think, okay, are you getting paid, or what's going on here? Because you can't just come out and vomit all this stuff out, especially when you're a personality like her.
Correct.
And you have obligations to the people you that follow you. Millions and millions of people follow her, and I'm thinking, what is going on here? So what's your thoughts on that?
So I have a very small audience. I refuse to speculate to my audience about ongoing operations. What I do is I put ongoing operations in perspective of history that I know, that I've researched myself. And it is very irresponsible to make now. So is your assessment of Lyman that he's a good guy?
I feel he is. I don't know. I don't know him, but I feel bad for the dude that his family's getting threats, and I think he is. But like I said, I can't validate that. I brought him on my program to give his piece of the pie here, but
right. So her accusations against them, did she have concrete evidence that he was a bad guy?
No,
Okay.
Not concrete. No.
So exactly. So that is the first indicator that they are part of a psyops.
Wow.
So if you have concrete evidence, you can make assertions based on that evidence. If you don't have any evidence, which she has no evidence, according to what I understand, about President Trump's involvement. So the use of his name is irresponsible, both from a person, just a normal person, but from someone in a position of authority. What she's doing is no different than what has been done in the past when the CIA is behind destroying someone's reputation.
Character assassination.
Correct. And that's
wouldn't it be very, I mean, obviously it'd be very beneficial to use her to turn MAGA against Trump. She has a huge following.
Correct.
That's scary.
But it's a fact of life. This has happened in every operation they do. They are not going to pick you or I. They are going to pick someone that has a massive audience. So go back in time and what they did to Michael Jackson. We know now that everything that they said about Michael Jackson was a bold-faced lie. They don't go after small targets. They go after people that are very influential in their walk of life, and they besmirch their character and turn the entire country. And it was a coordinated operation to take him down. Because why? He was a guy that crossed. So again, I'll give you another one. There was a man in Chicago that created in 1968. His name's Fred. I'm not going to remember his last name. He had set up a thing called the Rainbow Coalition that was very much behind Robert F. Kennedy's presidential run. And of course, we know he was assassinated. Fred Hampton, he created a thing called the Rainbow Coalition. It was poor whites, poor blacks, and poor Hispanics. He crossed all ethnicities and was building a coalition behind RFK's presidential run. He was a threat. You are not allowed to coalesce as Americans. You are deemed a threat. The FBI went in his house, everybody in the house. They saw everybody in the house, and that was the FBI that did that.
Wow.
Totally unwarranted. Anybody that brings people together, like President Trump has done, is going to be targeted for assassination, for character assassination.
So am I right in saying, and I've said this years ago, that in such a time as now, like where we're at right now, that there will be agitators activated, like many cells will be activated 100%. In the country, but podcasters, personalities, people that you thought you could trust are all of a sudden going to make a big swerve, and you're going to go, whoa, what's going on here? And then, so I'm correct.
And it will look just like what Candace Owens just did.
Wow. Okay, so that's huge, folks. You heard it here. Real big. So I'm going to read this. Oh, and I wanted to get your thoughts on, FBI Owens Patel, because he comes out and says, we deal in facts, not conspiracies. And then right there and then there, I think everybody just rolled their eyes. What's your thoughts on Owens Patel? Because this guy seems like he's buying into the narrative. It was Tyler Robinson. He didn't want to do anything with the Epstein list. People are losing faith in Cash. I've had him on my show many times, 5 or 6 times. And I like Cash. But I mean, right now, I don't know what to think.
So understand that both the FBI, DOJ, we've seen it repeatedly, are littered with deep state actors. Owens Patel is not doing all of the FBI work. There are still nefarious players in every one of these institutions. Owens Patel is operating off of information that is being provided to him from field agents. I just told you an entire FBI team, Fred Hampton. The FBI hid all of the Iran-Contra drug smuggling into the United States, and they did it in very nefarious ways. They would put people under investigation and use them as informants to protect them from being indicted by other law enforcement agencies like the LAPD. They would put sealed in order to hide information. They would gather up legitimate evidence of drug smuggling and put it under a sealed indictment so no one could see it. The entire time Gary Webb was researching Iran-Contra, he kept running into the FBI being 100% corrupt. The DEA was 100% corrupt. The CIA was 100% corrupt. So you are dealing, and I use this analogy all the time. They're literally flying an airplane with 330 million people on board and trying to repair the airplane that cannot land.
Right.
And so this is not going to be the smoothest flight that we've ever been on.
No.
This is you're going to have to buckle up. You're going to have to put your big girl panties on, and you're going to have to understand that there are still a lot of nefarious players in our government.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. So let's just get to let me just finish with this, because I'm going to read this article here this is a fact check article. Candace Owens accuses Trump administration of killing Charlie Kirk, ? Here's what the TPUSA member actually said. Candace Owens, a former Turning Point USA member, has made fresh accusations in Charlie Kirk's assassination, which has led many on social media to wonder if the conservative political commentator is now pointing at President Donald Trump himself. It started with her clip circulating online, and many on X slamming Owens for her latest theory, believing it to be directed at the Trump administration. Candace Owens is now directly accusing the Trump administration of killing Charlie Kirk. They definitely killed you, a person sharing the post wrote. Another added, Candace Owens is now openly claiming that Trump killed Charlie Kirk. She insists she just knows. Yet another person on X wrote, so Candace Owens is now directly accusing Trump of killing Charlie Kirk. She says the site just knows. She says that she just knows. If you listen to a single thing this lunatic says, you cannot be helped, and people had the audacity to tell me I was wrong to call her out. In the clip of Owens' latest take on Kirk's assassination, she does mention Trump, but there's no direct accusation leveled at him. One of the profiles sharing that Owens was blaming Trump put out a part of her speech as well. She said he gave up so much of his life to Trump and to politics, and they were just like, nope, that's it. So here's a holiday. That's with them giving a holiday after they killed Charlie. As soon as they give you a boulevard and a holiday, they definitely killed you, she says. There's no question they killed you. So she's not directly saying Trump, but I guess maybe she's frustrated at the fact that there's not more being done by his administration. Do you think that could be it?
It could be. Understand that the corrupt elements of the FBI and the corrupt elements of the CIA could have, in fact, done that. And it is fair for someone to say it's the Trump administration, because both of those organizations belong to the executive branch. But again, it would be the same as saying that JFK knew all of the nefarious things that the CIA was doing, while at the same time they hid every bit of it from JFK.
Gotcha.
So can you accuse JFK of doing all of that stuff when later on it was proven they withheld most of that information, even from the president?
Yeah, there's only so much he can do. He's surrounded by these swamp creatures, man. I mean, and some are in great disguise. So let's pivot for a second. Let's get into some Venezuela talk here. So U.S. sends B-1 bombers near Venezuela, ramping up military pressure. The flight signaled possible widening of U.S. campaign against cartels and alleged drug traffickers. The U.S. flew Air Force B-1 bombers near Venezuela on Thursday, stepping up pressure on President Nicolas Maduro. Only days after other American warplanes carried out an attack demonstration near the South American country. All right, what are we looking at here, Colonel? What do you think what do you think's going to happen here? I mean, we're going to oust Maduro. The only way to do it is violently.
So I'm going to say this unequivocally. I do not believe the United States of America has any authority to overthrow a foreign government, period. Okay. I don't care if you think their elections are rigged or not. I find it ironic that people say that the software that is used in the United States originated from Venezuela, but Venezuela had, and ours were perfectly secure.
All right, let's be careful with that kind of talk on FluffTube. We'll talk about that on .tv, but yes, I get what you're saying.
So if our elections are secure, so were Venezuela's. If that one was corrupt, ours is corruptible. That's a fair assessment, right? 100%. If we're talking about the same capability. All right. So what do we know about Venezuela's history? I've learned a lot. I'm starting a new book next week on Venezuela called Corporate Coup. We're going to learn a lot about Venezuela that no one knows. And let's just start off with something that they talk about a lot in the news, the Cartel de la Sol, right? We're told that's like, yeah, that's really bad. Did you know the CIA set it up?
I believe it.
No, that's a fact.
Okay, yeah, I believe it. Yeah, 100%. I'm not going to dispute that.
So Venezuela set up an anti-drug agency in Venezuela. Now, the CIA is the drug agency of the world. It goes back, like I said, to during the World War II. The CIA co-opted the Chinese 𝗬𝗂𝗂𝗁 Kai-shek's drug organization. They set it up in Taiwan. 𝗬𝗂𝗂𝗁 Kai-shek was made the president of Taiwan. They were into heroin. We already know they set up the Golden Crescent in Turkey to do Afghanistan's opium. We know they set up the Crystal Triangle in Colombia, Peru, and Bolivia. So they go in, the guys that set up drug operations go into Venezuela and set up an anti-drug operation with a general that was in the National Guard in Venezuela. The reason they call it the Cartel de la Sol is because that National Guard element in Venezuela had a sun as their unit emblem.
De la Sol. Okay.
So they set up the actual nefarious cartel that we're now told is so dangerous. Also, what I have learned, and I'll be very honest with your audience. The first time we blew up a Venezuelan boat, I was like, what are we doing? Venezuela.
It was just optics, right? They use submarines.
Well, I'm not even sure Venezuela has all that much to do with drug trafficking at all. And I'll tell you why. Given the year, anywhere from 90 to 98% of all cocaine in America comes in from Colombia. We went over that a million times. We've provided all of the receipts. And so I know that Colombia is the problem. What the CIA did, and again, just historical patterns, during Iran-Contra, the CIA tried everything that they could to implicate Nicaragua because it was being ran by the Sandinistas. And to the point where they took 𝗵𝗲𝗃, their CIA operative, landed a plane, threw out a bale of cocaine, snapped a picture. It was on the front page of every newspaper. And Ronald Reagan set up with that photo saying, Nicaragua is the problem. They knew unequivocally it was cocaine from Colombia. They were trying to create the illusion that all of the cocaine flooding America in the 1980s was from Nicaragua. A bold-faced lie because they wanted to overthrow the government. Let's fast forward to today. What did I just describe? I just described to you the same operation. So,
and I'm not debating you on that at all. I'm not disputing. But what about and I don't want to get into it too much here on Fluff 2, but what about the China-Russia connection within Venezuela?
What about it? Let's talk about that. What happened? And again, I'll use historical references. If you go back to Cuba, you go back to Nicaragua, you go back to any country that refused to go along with being invaded by USAID, by National Endowment for Democracy, they have to trade with someone. If America sanctions and provides an economic warfare against your country, your options are give in to the oligarchs in America for them to come steal all your oil, or you trade with people who aren't scared of America. There's nobody in Latin America that will trade with Venezuela.
And then you face your government being overthrown and taken out.
Correct. So if you're going to buy
think
weapons,
that's where we're at with Venezuela right now?
100%.
But I've always thought, I've heard from people that there's a huge Chinese and Russian footprint in our backyard, and the direction that we're heading, the trajectory against China and Russia, we don't want them there. We don't want them in Venezuela. Is there any truth to that?
We don't know because they lie about the intelligence. So if you go to Chile in 1973, when we overthrew that government, every newspaper broadcast they're all communist. There wasn't a communist in Chile, not a single one. But the CIA provides fake intelligence to the National Security Council, to the president, saying it's just flooded with communists. So you have no idea as an American what is or isn't true. Now, did Chile turn to the Soviet Union and ask for weapons? Yes, they did. Because guess what? No one else had a military that would supply them weapons to fight off the CIA's attempted overthrow of their government. So it's called the backlash of our foreign policy. You drive people into the camps of China and Russia by economic warfare against their country, because the leader then has a choice. I'm either going to let everybody in my country starve, or I'm going to trade food or oil or whatever I have for food. They've been trading with Iran. Venezuela has. But they're forced to do it because the United States sanctions them into starvation.
Choking them out.
Yes. So when you politically attack a country, you economically attack a country, and you militarily attack a country, you are driving them into the bed of your enemy.
Right. And then put out a false narrative like what's happening right now with Venezuela, the narco terrorists and this and that, and blowing up little boats coming in and out of the bay. Then you have a reason to tell the people with mainstream media, like, look, it's time to go in and overthrow the government, correct?
So let me just be clear about the narco boats. Colombia has made it for decades, because they're run by the CIA, they have made it a practice to traffic through nefarious players in Venezuela, just like they did in Nicaragua, in order to paint the Venezuelan government as the bad guys. So there is trafficking going through Venezuela. There's a river that goes out into the Caribbean, that there are narco traffickers on there. What nationalities they are is very interesting, but they are taking those small boats going to Trinidad, Tobago. They are offloading them. They are loading them onto submarines and big ships to bring them into the harbor. We just did that big bust in Houston.
Right.
That is the consolidation, either from the Dominican Republic, which the CIA's controlled forever, or Trinidad, which the CIA's controlled forever. The consolidation of those little boats happened. And obviously we have the satellite technology to track every single one of those boats, from the plant that it grew on, to the labs in Colombia where it's all made, to the boat where it's put on, to the staging place in Trinidad, Dominican Republic, pick one, to be aggregated and put on bigger ships. Wait till they start taking down the airplanes. There's a shit ton of cocaine coming in from Colombia on aircraft. And
to me, the biggest problem is fentanyl. Do we know if Venezuela is the main supplier of the fentanyl? We all know China is backing the cartels, is supplying the cartels with fentanyl. I've heard there's labs all over America, actually, not just in South America, but they're actually in America making this stuff.
So what's interesting about all of these, whether you're talking about heroin, cocaine, or fentanyl, it takes a crap ton of chemicals to make all of them. And in every case, up until I want to say it was in the 90s, if my memory serves me correctly, the U.S. chemical companies, Dow, DuPont, they were selling billions of dollars of chemicals to Colombia, knowing damn good and well they were being made. Yes. There had to be a law passed to say they were not allowed to sell chemicals to anyone in Colombia.
All right, let me just cut you off right there just for a second, folks. Talking about chemicals, what about Ozempic? Headlines everywhere talk about Ozempic and similar miracle weight loss shots. But what most people don't realize is this: a major analysis just found that people who stop taking these injections gain nearly all their weight back within a year. That's the catch. These drugs only work while you're taking them. They're expensive, and the moment you stop, your body fights back. And who knows about the long-term effects, folks? This is why I use this new product, and I'm obsessed with how it makes my body look. GLP-1 Elevate helps my body naturally trigger the same hunger-controlling, craving-reducing signals that Ozempic does, but without needles, prescriptions, or side effects, folks. It promotes safety and fullness, helps reduce hunger hormones, supports fat loss instead of muscle loss, and even helps maintain healthy blood sugar levels so that I finally get the results I need. Grab a bag of BioTrust GLP-1 for 40% off and start experiencing real results only at, what is it? Trim with Nino. There it is. Trim with Nino. Trim with Nino. Plus, if you hit the promotion right now, that includes a 60-day satisfaction guarantee with every order and free expedited shipping and subscriptions. Hit the link down below, folks, and get started on losing some weight. What do you think? Do I make these pretty entertaining?
You do.
All right. So let's pivot just for a second because obviously Trump is still doing the troop deployment thing, and I've often said this is all it's very clever strategy because they, many of the guests that have come on my show have said this has been gamed out. We could lose, and when they say lose, they mean to civil unrest, severe civil unrest. 13 to 15 cities, which says that's 14. The Democratic hellholes like Chicago, Portland, San Francisco, many cities in California. So we are now in fall, and it's kicking off pretty heavily in Portland, in Chicago, and now they're saying Trump is postponing federal troop deployment in San Francisco. We also have Mamdani looking like he's going to win New York. What do you have to say about all this? How are we going? Because the globalist objective here is to throw our country into civil unrest, into some kind of spiral us into some kind of civil war here. And I think Trump's getting ahead of the ball with the troop deployment so that he can neutralize or quell the coming civil unrest when a certain event happens. Or, I don't want to put the cart in front of the horse, but I don't know what will come first, the Insurrection Act or an event. Or the event and then the Insurrection Act. But obviously Trump is putting his pieces on the chessboard in the proper position to get ready for what is coming, correct?
Yes. And I would also kind of to draw those two stories together. People need to understand you don't just go out and find a tiny little boat in the middle of the Caribbean. You knew exactly when that boat left. You knew exactly what was being put on that boat. They see everything. The very exact same thing is true in what's happening in American cities. They have the ability to financially track every one of those people. They have the cell phone data of every person that's ever been at any of these events, the No Kings,
yeah.
Everything. And they have supercomputers to run analysis on every single one of those people. They can track those people everywhere. So there is a lot, they're allowing events to unfold so they can collect the data in order to be able to, when that thing happens, whatever it is, there will be 1 million people scattering to collect up everybody.
Wow. Yeah. So tracked and traced. And I've had a guest on, the Ghost comes on my show and he says, listen, everyone that's coming over the border right now is being tracked and traced. We already have the technology. We already know who they are. The big organizers, the terrorists, the heads of the terrorist organizations, we know who they are. We're letting them come here. They're coming here with credit cards, whatever, cell phones. What do you think's going to happen to these people? And that's why these raids have been happening, correct? In Chicago and different cities, they're busting down doors and taking the head organizers out.
Yes. And how did they find all of them? Because they've been tracking them. The difference between tracking those people, where you have all of the people in the counterterrorism cells who are the good guys doing all of this stuff, has been doing it for years. It is their directors and the people in charge, like Ray and all of these other people and the CIA, that has refused to act on the information. It's not that we've never had the information. Again, because I love history, they had computer systems in 1960 that allowed them to do this. They were used in the late 60s and 70s throughout Latin America. They had, as we couped government after government, Brazil, Chile, Uruguay, Paraguay, they had a computer system called 𝗀𝗄𝗄𝗃 that was tracking dissidents into the other countries, so the other countries' military dictator could pick them up, torture them, kill them, disappear them, whatever. We were doing that in the 60s. We were doing it in Vietnam.
Yeah.
So the fact that we've had this technology for a very long time and we've used it to pick up the good guys over and over, that exact same equipment is being turned on them.
Wow, beautiful. So yeah, we're using their methods against them. And so, you know, I'm going to just pivot just for a second. Adam Schiff criminal probe have stalled, sources say, after months of investigating. Federal prosecutors in Maryland have not produced enough evidence to bring charges, according to 4 people familiar with the investigation. I've heard he's on the chopping block, that soon he will be indicted. Are you under the same? Do you see that as well? Do you see that coming down the pipeline?
Those exact words was used for Latifah James because they have a U.S. attorney and underlings that are blocking that. Those are exact words were used. Oh, Latifah James is not going to get indicted because, you know, there's not enough evidence. Anytime they say that this comes from sources, tells you the entire thing is bullshit. I would actually, and I rarely ever do this, but if you look at Adam Schiff and his background, I would 100% tell you that he is under the control of the CIA if he's not an actual agent himself.
Wow, that's big. Yeah, and so with all these indictments coming out with who is it? Latifah James, Comey, Brennan, it's Bolton. They're all just falling like dominoes. That's going to set up to when this finally goes. And we have to be kind of vague here, but when this finally goes military, correct?
So I hope it doesn't get to that.
Okay.
I hope that I pray that the judicial system will be able to expose the information and that there is no need to have the military involved in any of this.
Well,
but
maybe
that
the
is up to
system
them.
needs to be exposed itself.
That is up to them.
So you don't think that maybe with all of this that's happening, it kind of has to be shown to the people like, hey, you can't even trust the judicial system. It's exposing itself.
Well, I think it's already been exposed.
Okay.
The judicial system is broke. And that may be the trip that requires military.
Okay.
If you have people and you can show them the evidence and a judicial system, a federal judicial system fails to find them despite all of the evidence that's laid out, and provided the evidence is there that they are guilty, and the judge does another thing like they did with the guy that was changing, and they basically give him a slap on the wrist, I think that's when we transition into military. Beautiful. I don't think we have a choice.
Colonel, thank you for joining me today. I appreciate your time. Where do people find you?
I'm on X at 4 o'clock on Spaces, Monday through Friday. You can find me at Colonel Towner on X, and I'm at the Colonel's Corner on Rumble. I have an entire library of information about all of the things that I talked about today. It's all historical, factual information that you never learned in school.
Beautiful. Colonel, thank you so much. And can I get you on ninoscorner.tv this week at some point?
I'm actually just got invited to go to an alternative media event coming up this next week. So I'm going to be in Washington, D.C.
All right. Well, in the next
we can definitely do it the next week.
Let's do it in the next week. I'll coordinate with you, and thank you so much.
Sure.
Folks, Colonel Towner Watkins, thank you so much. Give her a big thumbs up. Thank you, Colonel.
Thank you.
All right, folks. I told you this podcast would be fire. NASA group launches defense probe. So check this out. 3i Atlas, folks. It's going to launch a defense probe to protect Earth from a Manhattan-sized comet. So is this 3i Atlas? It looks like it to me. They're battering down the heavenly hatches. NASA-backed planetary defense group has reportedly begun efforts to pinpoint comet 3i Atlas after it was observed emitting an alloy not seen in nature and exhibiting other strange behaviors. They believe this is an intelligent vehicle, basically. The cosmic anomaly, a Manhattan-sized interstellar object that potentially has alien tech, has been added to the list of threats by the International Asteroid Warning Network, a NASA-coordinated worldwide coalition of organizations and space experts who collaborate to detect and monitor potentially hazardous asteroids and near-Earth objects to assess their potential impacts on Earth. Folks, you got to be paying attention to this at this point. They're making a big, big deal out of this ship, and they're saying it has hostile intentions. How do they know that? So let me know your thoughts here. Do you all believe this thing? Do you think it's even real, or do you think it's a psyop? I don't know. I got a lot of people on here that say, no, this is it. It's alien contact. It's the Nephilim. I get people that come on here and say, dude, this is the alien card. The government's getting ready to play. What's your thoughts? You all put it down in there in the comments down below. Folks, I do my best. I try to bring on the best guests I can for my shows to give you the intel and information you need to properly formulate your opinions. 𝗫𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 after this one. It's Ian Wendt, and it's fire. It's the Charlie Kirk Black Bill. And I got to tell you, trigger warning on this one. It's about an hour and 20 minutes long, and your jaw will be on the floor. It's very disturbing, but it's one hell of a podcast, probably the best ones I've done, one of the best ones I've done. Now, I'm not jumping ship on Donald Trump. Let me make that clear. That's why I said it's a trigger warning. I am not bailing on Trump, but we're asking questions, and we're showing a lot of stuff regarding Charlie Kirk, and it's a hell of a podcast. It's on ninoscorner.tv right now. I'll be putting it up. And with that being said, folks, in what the fuck news, as if everything I just said was in what the fuck news. Dallas church paints rainbow steps. Rainbow steps in protest of Abbott's crosswalk order. As Texas cities face a 30-day deadline to remove all rainbow crosswalks from public streets, one Dallas church said, "We're not having it." In a bold move, Oak Lawn Methodist Church began painting its steps in rainbow colors, folks, saying that the symbol still belongs to the community. It still belongs to the community. NBC's 5 Alley Spillers has the story. In a neighborhood known for its identity and advocacy, a North Texas church is taking a colorful stand against a state directive. On Tuesday, Oak Lawn United Methodist Church began painting its front steps in rainbow colors. This is a church, okay? This is a church, God's temple. Okay, it's supposed to be God's temple. Man, you can see the agenda is in full swing, huh, folks? Rainbow colors, a response to Texas Governor Greg Abbott's recent order requiring cities to remove rainbow crosswalks from public streets. We're painting the rainbow on our steps as a way to show the community and the neighborhood that the rainbow is important, said Reverend Ryan Wager. Wager said the church decided to act after a weekend rally in the Oak Lawn neighborhood where residents encourage one another to display rainbows on private property as a form of peaceful protest. I hope that people drive by knowing that we're taking steps when the governor is trying to take steps to silence or erase literally the community for being from being on the streets. That's there is a place they can come and find sanctuary. And where is that? A church. Yep, a church. You need to find sanctuary from all the madness. You want to see the rainbow colors? Go to the church. Crazy, man. We are living in a backwards world, folks. I can't, we were warned about these days. I remember being a kid and talking about these, and people would tell me that these days are coming and how confusing it would be, how crazy it would be. And here we are. We're right in the middle of it right now. So, folks, I don't know. I hope you got something out of this podcast. I think Colonel Towner Watkins brought a lot of information and intel. You know, she brought a lot of experience to this podcast regarding Candace Owens, the three-letter agencies, the whole thing. Folks, our entire lives, our entire existence has been a psyop. Wake up. It's time to wake up. It's time to finally wake up and realize this has all been a big illusion. And enjoy some Nino with your coffee. Waking you up out of the matrix, folks. Yeah. All right, folks. Alex, you there?
Hey, Nino.
Whew, that was a pretty good show today, huh?
Yeah, for sure.
Fire. I got to say, people have got to go watch these the Ian Wendt podcast on Nino's Corner.tv. It's crazy. It's you know what? And we go back to when he was really black-pilled. You could see Charlie Kirk like short-circuiting, and one of the audience members bringing a lot of things to his attention. And we go back to that moment, and that seems to be the moment when he started getting not just red-pilled, but black-pilled about that little country in the Middle East. So it's pretty crazy. We talk about all that stuff. So anyway, man, thanks, Alex, for joining me today. Enjoy your weekend.
Thanks, Nino. Good to see everybody.
All right, folks, we're out of here. Peace. And the new heavyweight champion of podcasting and the black sheep of broadcasting, folks.